Most people spend 40 years working and end up with almost nothing to show for it. Not because they did not earn enough, because nobody ever gave them the rules, until now. These are 15 money rules that wealthy people quietly follow. You will not find these in school. You will not hear them from most people around you. They are not complicated. They are not secrets. But once you understand them, they change every single financial decision you will ever make. Let us get into it. Rule 1. The first $10,000 saved is harder than the next 100,000. Studies show that 57% of Americans cannot cover a single $1,000 emergency from their savings. Not because they are poor, because the first milestone is simply the hardest to reach. The first 10,000 fights against rent, food, emergencies, and the constant temptation to just enjoy your money now while you have it. Every expense competes for it every single month. But once it exists, something changes. It works for you. It compounds quietly. It grows. It gives you options you did not have before. The hardest part of building wealth is never staying wealthy. The hardest part is always the beginning. Rule 2. Your biggest wealth-building tool in your 20s and 30s is time, not money. A 22-year-old investing $100 a month will very likely retire wealthier than a 40-year-old investing $500 a month. Not because of discipline, not because they earn more, because of compound growth working silently in the background for a full decade longer. As Warren Buffett once said, someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. Every single year you wait costs you more than you will ever fully realize. Rule 3. The most expensive financial mistake is waiting until you feel ready to start. You will never feel ready. There will always be a convincing reason to wait just a little longer. More debt to clear first, more stability to find, more certainty to wait for, more confidence to build before committing. The people who built real lasting wealth did not start when conditions were perfect. They started with imperfect conditions, imperfect knowledge, and an imperfect amount of money. And they simply started anyway. Rule 4. An emergency fund is not optional. It is the foundation that everything else is built on. Research shows that only 39% of adults globally have enough savings to cover 3 months of expenses. 6 in 10 people are one unexpected bill away from falling into debt. The car breaks down, it goes on a credit card, a medical bill arrives, it destroys whatever savings remain, a job is suddenly lost, panic sets in immediately. 3 to 6 months of expenses sitting completely untouched is not boring. It is the only thing separating a setback from a genuine catastrophe. Build this first, before anything else. Rule 5. Never negotiate your salary once. Negotiate it every single year. Most people accept whatever number they're given and are quietly grateful for it. The wealthy treat salary like a business negotiation because that is exactly what it is. Research shows that people who consistently negotiate their salary earn up to $1 million more over the course of their career than those who never ask. $1 million from conversations most people never have? Not because they cannot, because nobody ever told them they were supposed to. Rule 6. Financial freedom is not about how much you earn. It is about how much you keep. As Robert Kiyosaki said, it is not how much money you make, but how much money you keep that truly matters. The highest earners are very often the most financially stressed people in any room. The most quietly wealthy people you will ever meet probably earn significantly less than you would ever assume. Freedom is not a number on a payslip. It is the gap between what you earn and what you genuinely need to live well. Widen that gap consistently over time, and everything about your financial life changes permanently. Rule 7. Rich people buy assets. Everyone else buys things that look like assets. A new car feels like an asset. A bigger house feels like an asset. An expensive watch or a designer item feels like an asset. But real assets do one thing consistently. They put money into your pocket over time. Everything else quietly takes money out. The wealthy learn this distinction early, and it permanently changes every single purchase decision they ever make. Most people never learn it at all. Rule 8. Spend on assets before luxuries, not the other way around. Most people earn their salary, enjoy their life, treat themselves to what they want, and then invest whatever happens to be left over at the end of the month, which is usually nothing. The wealthy reverse this completely. They invest and save first, automatically and without negotiation, and then enjoy whatever remains. Same income, same expenses, completely different outcome. The order of spending is genuinely everything. Rule 9. If you have to check your balance before buying something, you cannot afford it yet. This is not about deprivation or living like a monk. It is about radical honesty with yourself about where you actually stand financially right now. Most financial stress does not come from genuine poverty. It comes from the gap between what people earn and what they feel socially pressured to spend. Closing that gap honestly is one of the most quietly powerful financial decisions any person can ever make. Rule 10. Your car is not an investment. It is an expense with wheels. The moment you drive it off the lot, it is worth significantly less than what you paid. Insurance every single month, maintenance and repairs every year, fuel every single week without fail. It depreciates consistently every single day you own it. Some of the wealthiest people in the world drive completely ordinary cars, not because they cannot afford better, because they fully understand what a car actually is and what it is not. Rule 11. Saving money in a bank account is slowly losing money to inflation. A savings account feels completely safe, and for emergencies, it should be exactly where that money lives. But the average savings account pays around 0.5% in interest, while inflation typically runs at 3 to 4%. That gap quietly destroys your purchasing power every single year without a single dramatic moment. What feels like responsible saving is actually a slow and invisible loss happening in the background. Safety and growth are two completely different things. A healthy financial life requires both. Rule 12. Your income is not your wealth. Your net worth is. Research shows that 70% of lottery winners go broke within 5 years of their windfall. Massive, sudden income. Zero lasting wealth built. Because income without a system is simply money passing through. A person earning $200,000 a year with matching expenses has built nothing of real value. Stop measuring financial success by what comes in. Start measuring it by what stays, what grows, and what you actually own versus what you still owe. Rule 13. The cheapest option is rarely the most affordable in the long run. Cheap shoes wear out in 3 months. Quality ones last 3 years or more. Cheap appliances break and get replaced repeatedly. Quality ones run reliably for decades. This principle applies to almost every significant financial decision you will ever face, including financial advice, insurance coverage, and investment products. Cheap decisions made consistently and repeatedly compound into extremely expensive outcomes over time. Price and cost are two very different numbers. Rule 14. Lifestyle inflation is the silent killer of every salary raise you will ever receive. The pattern is almost universal. You get a raise. Life quietly gets more expensive to match it within a few months. The raise disappears without a single dramatic decision ever being made. Just gradually, through small upgrades that each felt completely reasonable in the moment. A better apartment, more eating out, a newer car. Guard every single raise deliberately. Decide in advance exactly where it goes before lifestyle inflation decides for you. Rule 15. The person who starts investing at 22 beats the person who starts at 32, every single time without exception. This is not motivational, this is cold mathematics. 10 extra years of compound growth creates a wealth gap that is almost impossible to close no matter how hard you work later in life. The late starter must invest dramatically more every month just to catch up, and often never fully does. Starting early is not just smart advice. At a certain point, it becomes the only move that actually works. 15 rules, none of them complicated, all of them quietly ignored by most people for most of their financial lives. You do not need to apply all 15 today. Pick one that resonated. Apply it this week. That is genuinely all it takes to start moving in a completely different direction. If this video shifted something for you, please subscribe,